And I'm here on the front lines in the battle against the cabal, the deep state, the Illuminonkeys, all those that wish to enslave all humanity for their own selfish reasons. How you doing today? Well, another. Oh, I just noticed I have the wrong background. That is a Q&A session for the New Path Forward for Kringle Society. The Kringle members are generally, we've got about 600 people have joined the site, and we did a Q&A session last night. I'm going to do another one tonight, another one the following night, and then nothing on New Year's. So yeah, get some. Okay, so let me go ahead and shift my background here. So we're on the front lines. There we go. All right, and please do register at the website for wwg1wga.love. Right, and you can become a member there. You can subscribe and also select a subscription that gives you a donation. There's $1.11 a month. There's a free version, right? But if you'd like to contribute, I would appreciate it. $1.11, $8.88 a month, or $9.99 a year. And then there's some other memberships there that are for bigger amounts. And I've been surprised at the people that have contributed so much to help me in my mission and what I'm doing here, which has also helped with KringleGold.com, and it's gold grain coin, which is a stable coin. I will be doing some broadcasts about the coin as well. But we're really in the soft launch phase. We're getting the members that want to be leaders and participate in that. We have a group of about 300 leaders right now, and we're just getting things situated. I'll be testing the coin and the functionality of the system actually probably today and tomorrow, and probably by Wednesday, which again New Year's, it should be ready for deployment, and excited about that. So on that front, everything is looking good. So let's get to some news items, as Thomas liked to say. So I do have something. I'm gonna bring this up. Let me go ahead and share the screen here. Yes, and this is about the militia in Virginia. Now this is about 13 minutes long, and I just want to really talk about it. We'll go ahead and play a little bit of it and go through that. So I could probably speed it up a little bit.
Hey everybody, it is Christopher Green, AMTV, Alternative Media Television. I have a very big breaking report for you today. We have a massive militia Second Amendment movement and rally taking place in the state of Virginia on January 20th, 2020. This will be blacked out by the mainstream media. You will not hear about this until it's too late. So please share this video, like and share it with a friend or family member. Get out the truth to those that actually care about what is happening, not just in the state of Virginia, but across this entire country. Again, massive militia movement, Second Amendment rally. We have states all across the country declaring themselves sanctuaries for the Second Amendment, which of course is our constitutional right as Americans to protect our life, liberty, our families. Just open up the Bill of Rights. You can read it right there, see what the Second Amendment has to say about that. Now, this is taking place on the heels of the Virginia governor calling for open gun confiscation and control. And congressmen have been suggesting that he could even use the National Guard and declare martial law potentially to confiscate weapons like AR-15s in Virginia. Now, many believe this to be a testing ground for what might be spreading all across the United States of America. First, it starts with Virginia, then it moves to California, then it moves to another state, and before you know it, it is spread all across the country. And they have destroyed your fundamental liberty and right to defend yourself. Now, keep in mind, this nation was founded under Judeo-Christian.
So I'll go ahead and stop that here. So again, this is on AMTV. That's the channel. They have 662,000 subscribers. Go ahead, I'll click subscribe. I'll also click like and bell. All they put out there, I'll go ahead. Though I find it strange, why do I even bother setting notifications when YouTube won't deliver them to me, right? But the point here is that this is where people are setting up these sanctuary areas. Let me go back a little bit to find that. Where is that map? There. So where you actually have these areas that are declaring themselves that they are going to be sanctuaries for the Second Amendment, meaning that you will be able to hold your guns here. So, when they're talking about sending in the National Guard, we should be supporting, our militia members, right? We want to support the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms means our right to throw off a government. That's what it's for. It's for our own protection against our own government. When we've been infiltrated by foreign entities where our leaders have become treasonous, it is meant for that purpose. So this is why, this is a very important time to realize that this is happening right now. This is not some movie. This is not the time to go get your popcorn. This is the time to come out in support of the militia. Go there. Be supportive of them. Do what you can to support the ideas. Everywhere, there cannot be anywhere where it's designated as a safe zone for your guns. It has to be everywhere. It's a very good point, though, and a good tactic to really throw the sanctuary city thing in their face. That are trying to take over the country by bringing in foreigners to affect the elections. So it's a great tactic, and we should support it. So do whatever you can to support this. I mean, as I said, go there on that day for this rally they're going to be having in Virginia. So this is happening on all fronts. Keep in mind this plan is something that they would have been continuing with if Hillary was in office. Right? But since Trump is in office, he's able to counter the things that they had put into place, their plans. This has to do everything from building the wall to stop this flood. Just imagine, there's still people flooding across the border, but it has diminished. They do have 100 some miles completed, 250 miles under construction, or is it something like that. But by the end of this coming year, by the end of 2020, there'll be over 500 miles built, and that was what was necessary. That was the most. These were the easiest parts where it would be able to be crossed. Now, not every part is super easy, like wherever the river is. The river is very dangerous, the Rio Grande. But then it gets into the mountainous areas. It's hard to get into those areas, but not impossible. So, we're not going to be done with just this wall, because wherever we build the wall, there's going to be a shift to other places. It makes it much harder for people to get across, obviously, because not only when you're on one side and you're on the other, and you come across the border, it's still difficult because you're in the middle of nowhere. But it will put a big damper on things. But the wall is also more than just a physical barrier. It's an energetic barrier. And what do I mean by that? When South America, or around the world, where they're going to be going through South America, through Central America, through the areas that have been immigrating, so Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, these areas are going to recognize that there is now a wall there. So there's this psychological effect of people saying, well, now there's a wall, I can't cross it, or it's going to make it much difficult. So they're convincing people because it's easy, right? And they're putting them on trucks and they're giving them cash. Go, 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 go. Right now, it's going to be, well, you're putting them on trucks and you're giving cash, and I'm going to get there and there's going to be a wall, and I'm going to have to sit on the other side of the wall and wait for what to happen. So this is going to be a very big deterrent. So the other things are the financial systems, the not moving money, so they're not able. So one of the very first things he did is confiscate their cash. Right, he got a hold of their money. Now, interesting enough, as soon as this happened, Soros moved everything he had into foundations. Now, once it is in a foundation, it has to go by the rules, right? And you really don't have the cash, right? You have control over things, right? But you don't have the cash. So, but he protected those assets. But now he's still using the NGOs, the money that's coming from the U.S. government into the hands of these United Nations, and then into the hands of the NGOs that are then doing things that are, to sabotage America, to take over the systems. So with these illegals, it looks like I was looking at some of the numbers. With the illegal flow of immigration into certain cities, the blue cities, in certain states, it's going to actually shift seats. I think it's 18 seats away from red states to blue states. So that means that there'll be more chances for the Democrats to hold the House of Representatives, and even, well, that's what it's about, the House of Representatives. So this is going to be something that's going to be the challenge, right, is to recognize, who should not be voting. And that's why there's going to be, there's an effort right now to do a different form of counting the number of illegals. Because if they can do that, that's what Trump is going to be doing, is he's going to deny them the extra seats based only on the census. He's going to be denying them based upon these other techniques, other databases that they announced they're going to be using to determine who should not be voting, and thus shouldn't, even though they'll be counted as part of the census, but they should not be voting. So they're not going to allow them to be counted towards those seats. So they're not going to get. I believe that's the plan. Don't know if that for certain. I'm just putting 1 + 1 together and coming up with 2. So I might be wrong with the new math, but well, we'll see. So this is something that is right hot and heavy right now. What's happening. So on the financial front, they've lost control of funds. They lost control of the movement of large amounts of money. So all of the plans that they have in place are still there, and they're still trying to execute on them. And these are the things that we see, the things with the vaccinations. Right now, they're going to try and vaccinate people for Ebola, right? And on a untested vaccine, right? And they're going to force people to take this. So what most likely will happen is people are going to end up having higher rates of Ebola happening, right? Just like with these other things. You ever get the flu shot, right? You got a vaccination against the flu. And what happens? You get the flu. It lowers your immunity, and maybe you don't get that flu, you get the other flus. Remember, well, it eliminates this strain of flu of all the, so there's this strain of flu, but there's 24 other strains of flu. Now that since you actually now were infected with the flu, with the vaccine, your body's immune system gets compromised, and you catch the other forms of flu. So this is one of the other plans that they've been putting in place. They were attacking us on all fronts, and most people can't comprehend that this was put into place. It's hard for people to put all the pieces together. They hear the sound bites out there that are all packaged in nice bows and ribbons and pretty papers, like we're going to lower the world population through vaccines. Now, it's stated by, say, Bill Gates on a TED Talks. And you can find other officials saying the same thing. But they're stating it. How do you do that? What does that mean? Because it's in a pretty bow, right? And everyone says, oh, that's such a nice present for the world. We're going to lower the population. Actually, I just saw a graphic, a meme about the population projections for London going from 65 million down to 18 million, 20 million. I'm going to look at that again. 1 second. 15 million. From 66 million in 2017 to 15 million in 2025. Wow. Right, we're talking about 5 years from now. They're going to have 1/3 of their population. How's that possible? So less than 1/3. More like 25%. So this is This was from, what was it from? Reports by Degel, military state by 2025 that below 15 million. How are they going to achieve this? Right. So these things are out there, right? These plans were put into place. A worldwide apparatus just for this to for them to basically unroll this on the world, right? To basically present this and have everyone sign on to it because it's so pretty. They made it look pretty. These horrible things, reducing population on a place where we're not underpopulated, but they convinced the people that we're underpopulated, and this has been going on a long time. You know, the fear tactics. I remember when I was a kid, a young kid, and we're going to be in an ice age in 10 years. The world's going to be frozen over in 10 years. And then they went to then when I was later on, it was all about global warming, right? So every decade, they have to change what they're doing. Now they just stick with climate change, which is also known as weather, right? The weather changes. If it was always the same, we wouldn't need the term weather, right? If it was always the same, always not raining, sunny, there's never a storm, never anything, we wouldn't need to have a term for it because we wouldn't notice. We have a term called weather because it changes. And it's not all about us. We are not impacting the amount of CO2 on Pluto. So why is it heating up? Way out there at the far end of the solar system, why is it heating up? May it have something to do with the cosmic weather patterns? And no matter how many SUVs we drive, if every single person on the planet drove a Hummer, we wouldn't be affecting the CO2 levels on Pluto. We would not be creating heat that was causing Pluto to heat up. So it's all a big sham, a scam. It's smoke and mirrors for the purpose of control. Too many people for them to control, so they want to scale back the herd. They consider the rest of the population as a herd, as their possession that they can do with as they see fit, while telling us that we are free, that you can do what you want, right, to control the herd. That time is over. But this is the transition. I've been commenting that it's like watching a movie in slow-mo, right? It's going so slow. You want to speed it up. You want to push fast forward, get through this, but we have to go through it. Part of the things is to dismantle what they've been doing. So part of that is standing up for our rights. LawfulAmerica.com. Tank put a lot of effort into building that out and doing that. But we have to get it out for him. We have to do our parts to move that. So me telling you something about it, take action. Right? Stand up. You haven't done something in a week about it. Great. Do something today. Take the Lawful America, break up the website name. People can know how to put it back together. Put it on a meme. As I break it up, just put like law or lawful, and then put a space, America, put a space, and then put com. Right? That's one way of doing it. Put it on a meme. Put it out there on your social media. Say, go there, register, find out the information. Don't mention vaccinations in the text because they'll pick it up and they'll shadow ban it. So take your steps, to move things forward. This is what we need to do to make these things happen. On the 31st, we will be doing the 300th episode of this broadcast. Now, in the beginning, it was called GCR: The Big Lie, because that's how Tank and I connected, right? We started talking about this, and we were going to do two weeks straight, right? But we never stopped because of the effect that we had, because we took steps. So 300 broadcasts in a row, with some minor change of times along the way. Tank can't make it one day, I can't get on one other day, but we did our best to be on every day, right? And so we're here taking steps. After our GCR: The Big Lie, I thought we should probably do like one a month of those, right, to see what's happening with the GCR, right? And we could probably just record the same episode and then replay it, because it'll be exactly the same information repeated. Oh, the 800 numbers are coming out. Get ready. And after that, we called it DANK Live. Dan plus Tank equals DANK. Right? And question, in the beginning, do we really want to call it that? We might as well call it DANK 420. So then we moved on, and now Frontlines. So because we were defining all these different front lines, that's when I came up with the name. I said, we're handling over here, we're doing over this, we're doing over this. We have these different fronts in this battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Lumadonkeys. So there's so much that we can do, right, if we just take action. Our latest little turn of events here is that Tank comes on at 12:30. Yeah, so it's 12:38 right now. My time, 12:38. So, yesterday he came in at 10 minutes late. So the girls are not on him on this. You want to get him on a schedule, and he's off schedule. I was relatively on time. I'm trying to start about half an hour prior to go over these things. So one of the things is preparing information for these broadcasts. So the girls got on his case, and so now Tank shows up.
What's going on?
I was just saying how the girls are not on it because you're late again. You're not on schedule.
Yep, I've been a little bit all over the place trying to see what's going on through this last portion of the year.
Yes, I get it. Well, just so you know, on New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve day, the 31st, it will be our 300th episode of this broadcast.
What will it be?
The 300th on the 31st.
Well, I hopefully right around then we'll be able to get a pay raise.
Yeah. And I'll take a vacation with that. Hello.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right.
I got. Hello, can you hear me?
I think we have a delay. I think we have maybe about 5-second delay. You're hearing me 5 seconds late.
All right. Actually, gonna annoy me. Let's see if I can jump off there and come right back in.
Okay. All right.
Right back. Yeah.
He's already off. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying when that happens. But technical difficulties.
Hello, Dan.
Hello.
Dan Company. All right. So there's this cycle that goes on, right? With every time Kim has a breakthrough, right? So they always deny that it's Kim. They try to take credit for it, right? Then when they fail miserably, then they blame Kim, right? Every time. So they spent the whole day yesterday, trying to figure out how Kim got put in the role and position that she's in.
Mm-hmm.
Like what gives her the right? That kind of conversation.
Yeah.
A bunch of guys sitting around who are mad because they failed.
Right.
They're blaming, the opportunity to break through. So that's basically where they're at with that. And I asked him today. I'm kind of like, what exactly do you need from them anymore? Like, what is it? What is it? Because I don't know at this point, like what it is that they even can do, or that they're stopping, or because you don't need them for security. The only thing I guess they can do is that you have people at the lower levels that because they can still move the money.
You faded out. Hello.
Let's still work at that level.
You faded out. I lost. Hello, Tank. You faded out for about 5-6 seconds.
Killing me with this stuff. Okay, so I was saying that I don't understand what it is that they even offer. What they can do, or what value these other groups have, like the banks and such, right? The actual bankers, and there's people there, right? But I don't really see what they're doing, because the Kim system is actually identifying everything now, right? One of the Kim systems is working to do everything, right? To identify if there is an issue with security, if there is an issue, with the transfer, where the transfer goes, to identify if there's fraud or money laundering or, criminal activity, and it will shut all of these things down, right? Immediately. And it's been proven, right? That's why you had all of the Federal Reserve banks, right? What is it? It's a $4.2 quadrillion debt that they owe, right? That's what the Federal Reserve owes.
Just some pocket change.
Yeah.
4.2 quad.
Year, that's 4.2 quad.
So just so people know, a quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. Hello.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 1,000 trillion. So they have $4.2 quadrillion is the overdue debt the Federal Reserve owed the trust. So the trust, being Kim, she turned that debt over to the Treasury, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, in that process, when she did that, she wiped out the debt that the United States owed, right, to the Chinese, and wiped out the debt the Chinese owed.
Okay.
So America and China, at least their governments, the real governments, and this is always contingent upon operating like a real government, I guess, not like a criminal, organized criminal faction. There's no debt. There is no 21, 22, $23 trillion debt for the United States anymore. It doesn't exist. It's gone. That's a pretty amazing thing that's overlooked, right? I mean, you want to talk about why they're fighting so hard to really stop President Trump? Wait till he drops. By the way, the entire debt, the U.S. debt, is gone. I mean, that is unprecedented.
Amazing businessman he is.
Well, right. To have the wisdom to know who's really in charge of something, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So that would mean, and then right now on the floor of the House is a new tax bill. And basically, it would take sales tax, right, especially for high-end luxury items, that would be raised, but there would be no income tax anymore, and all the tax would be gathered from the sales tax.
Yeah.
Which in reality, our income tax has never gone to the government anyways. It's always gone to the Rothschilds.
Right.
So it's only win-win, right? It's like, hey, the money actually goes back to do things for the people, for the country, and the people themselves, grab an extra 35% of, income increase to actually usable, actually functionally usable income in their day-to-day lives. That's incredible. I mean, these are monumental changes. Like, Kim comes on to Thomas's show the other day and she said, we made a few little changes. These are monumental things. These are massive, right? That just happened this year, right? Anybody who didn't listen to it, it might still be going. Thomas's show tonight, he's actually live. He's got a special show tonight. He's going through just the year in review. And Thomas is pretty, if nothing else, he's very meticulous about things, and thorough in going through things. And so he's just going through some of the stuff. It's really incredible when you see all that has been done, right? And we reported on most of it, right? Or all of it at some point, I'm sure. But it's just, these are incredible breakthroughs for humanity. I mean, this is the potential for the elimination of the debt, of all debts. Just like that we can be rid of. We can be, you get your country free. Imagine what else is possible, right? But because of these, mediocre minds who have no idea of any other way to be than a slave, they're somehow, I don't even really know what they're doing right now. And honestly, and I'm with Kim, I'm like, she's definitely fed up. Like, she is ready to, she has dropped so many hammers on these people, though, this year. I mean, she has dropped so much. It is incredible when you think about it.
I have a interesting little bit of information. Our friend at the Bank of England, I got that audio of Kim from the other day to him, and so he listened to it.
Wow. Yeah.
And his comment was more that he knows that she's real from the yeah. from how she's from what she was saying on that. Right. Now,
yep.
This has come multiple times in confirmation that way about who's on the trust, who's in the system, pulling up her name as the one on the trust, right? So
right.
This more confirmation, more things happen. This is not coming from other the GCR. From
right.
from the elders. I mean, where are the elders showing up and proving themselves?
Nada. Zero. They have not moved anything. They have not had the ability to move anything. They have had several ceremonies, virgin sacrifices. They have kidnapped children. They continue to run a very profitable child trafficking industry around the world. And the idiots in the government, who are supposed to work for the people, continue to bow down and do whatever these people want, right? Now, I'm sure that's not true across the board, but for the love of God, can we just clean the house already? I mean, anytime somebody tells you, these things take time, no, the hell they do. You don't have time. You don't have time. They're poisoning the water every single day. They're poisoning the food. I mean, my God, I went through to see that when I heard about this number with the 18 million times the amount of estrogen in the Impossible Whopper. I started looking at everything.
It sounds like it's made out of estrogen.
I mean, it sounds like it's purely estrogen, or there's absolutely no estrogen at all, I guess, in the Whopper, whatever. But I started going through every single thing in my house. I could not believe how many things I had to throw away. they have soy that are made with. Now I avoid soy,
Right.
like soybean oil of any kind, all the time, anyways. And like my family eats almost 90% organic, as much as anyone could, I guess. I mean, like, we're very health conscious people, and we still had to go. Can you imagine what the average American household looks like?
Yeah.
Everything packed with garbage, just packed with garbage.
Yeah, one of these on the old Art Bell show, Coast to Coast AM, they had this time traveler that came back from the future, right? And he called in. He was talking about this, and he was from I think like something like 30 years from now, something like that. And he came back with a mission. Right? He needed this old IBM computer, right, and a copy of the Constitution. That was his mission. But the one thing that stuck with me for a long time was, it said, that it was hard for him to believe everything that people were just eating as though it was food. And he said it's not food, right? So he was only eating organic, right? But as much as possible. But this other stuff, fast food, he wouldn't touch it. Right? It's not food. Right? So it's hard to really grasp, but just how much of this well packaged stuff, even the stuff that was, I remember going through this in California with some organic food, right? When I was working with some of the people that were the hippies that started the word organic, right? And it was taken over by the government. And they changed what organic meant, right? So it's like if you had a cow that was, diseased cow, and it was all filled with antibiotics or something like that. So all you had to do was, feed it, organic stuff and put it in a pasture for 3 months. After that, it's now organic.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, right? To change what is. So it's not that, its whole life, it's been absorbing this. Its whole being is built out of this poison that it was fed, and now it's going to give organic. It goes against what the term organic was all about.
Right.
So, we have to really approach everything differently, right? We have to, whenever we're talking about growing food, we can grow things, right, in a way, very high tech, without chemicals, right, and in a way that where we're actually creating the nutrients for the plants and everything from the fish that are in the pond over here that are in a fish farm, right, and the water gets recycled and moved out, and that carries nutrients along with it. All right, earthworm casings, bat guano, it's everything. When are farmers putting manure in the field? It's all about the chemicals, right? And the chemicals come from oil. It's a byproduct from oil. Right? So not that they, on the molecular level, it doesn't have that one thing. Nitrogen, for example. Okay, here's nitrogen. At the molecular level, there's nitrogen. But what about the rest of the stuff attached to it? Right?
Yeah. And they talk about this all the time. You can't, like, there's something with pharmaceutical waste byproduct in the body, right, that builds up over time, that they can't account for, right? They have no test for it. They have no idea what to do with it, right? And there's no accounting for it in anything. In any, not the PIs prescribing information, it just builds up in the body. And there's this residual effect, just like you're saying, that runs through everything, right? So they poison everything at every level. So it's in the manure, it's in the cows, it's, no matter,
pervasive.
No matter what path, right? So the only way to really do it, is, and I remember this actually when I was a kid. One of my a senior in high school, my best friend, I grew up in, kind of like where you did in upstate New York. It's very country where I grew up, and he had beautiful, like very old, like 150-year-old house, that was like restored, and it was a farm, right? It probably had like 100 acres of land, and they would buy one cow a year, right? And they would raise that. They'd have the cow all year long, raise the cow, and then they'd slaughter the cow, and they'd have meat for like the whole year.
Right.
And I remember going to their house when I was a kid. I mean, it was such a traditional. Just like a romantic version of history in their home. I mean, just very adorable family, right? And they would make burgers, and I remember I would almost get sick off the meat because it was so clean. It was so fresh, right? I mean, it was so different. Like my body wasn't used to it, but it was delicious. It was amazing. It just took me, a few times eating it to like get used to it. So. Like,
yes, it was kind of like a vampire in garlic. Your body was going. The garlic's good for you. No.
So I'm thinking about this. Like, and I've always known this has to happen. There has to be an immediate injunction on all usage of anything that is a poisonous byproduct that is being, promoted and implemented. And it cannot matter what industry it collapses.
Yeah.
It has to be, and a decision has to be made separate from economic viability. It has to be. Because you've created industries that poison the American people, and people will lose their jobs, yes, but they will live.
Well, yeah.
That has got to be done.
Well,
it has to be.
Well, I can see what you're saying, but since we have access to the funds, the money, right? That money can cushion the transition, right? When those jobs go away from the aspartame factory, right? When the people that are pouring that normally pour the big barrels of fluoride into your toothpaste, right? They lose their job, right? Well, there's something else for them to do. There's money available. They can transition, right?
Well, right now, this I've already anticipated, actually, right? So in our business model, part of what I know we have to do is we have to build every one of these industries back up from the ground up, right? Because you can't count on them for anything. So basically what you do is you target every area that is, built around a, fluoride factory, right? It's like, I don't know, taking all the excess waste from fluoride, that's created with industries. And you build the factory there. Wherever there is one, you account for the number of jobs, you create brand new jobs in the same exact area. And if that takes you however long to build in the process, you create, a grant that provides that access because of this violation, right? Because they're in violation, that is, it's in violation of the core principle of the Constitution, which is do no harm, right?
Yep.
You're harming, not only are you harming, you're intentionally harming people to control their lifespan. This stuff has got to stop.
I was just thinking earlier. I was covering the Virginia sanctuary city for Second Amendment rally that's coming up, right? So I'm thinking, maybe we need to have a sanctuary city for a non-poisoned food.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I've been thinking about this as well about how do you rebuild the world, right? And you have to really kind of build safe communities alongside or in relative proximity to where people in some metropolitan areas, right? And I've been scouting properties all over the world, actually, but most of it in the U.S. to see how much land you can buy up, and then you create housing that is ergonomic and organic, right? That actually exists within the environment that's already there, right? Rather than tearing it down, right? You can build like the I forget what I guess like the Incans did this, maybe some other indigenous cultures, right? Where they would build their structures, their living structures into the mountain that's already there, right? Things like that, right? Where you build things, you build homes that are, and there's just one really famous architect who does it. I can't think of his name right now, but but he's famous for this, right? He builds everything in a way that's just in harmony with nature, right? So you're building around things rather than tearing them down, right? And you're building into the structures that are there. You're building into the earth, right? And this would be so much easier. It would completely change, the cost of construction, right? And it's very elaborate, I guess, by comparison, but in reality, it's like they're trying to build things, from, by tearing everything that's natural there away and putting in this, this weaker version, right? Where you can build directly into the rock and build homes that will naturally, cool themselves, and basically, you're living in the ground on some level, right? Build it on the edge of a cliff and build incredible homes. And then within those same communities, right, you create free energy sources, atmospheric water generators that provide fresh drinking water, energy. You completely eliminate any connection to what they are providing, right?
Right.
And
yeah,
I mean, you have your own fresh organic fruits and vegetables that you make free to everybody who's in the community. Everybody's got it. It's like a commune, right? This is like everybody has to put in a couple hours of work every month or something. But it grows fresh, and everybody has fresh organic fruits and vegetables all the time. And I guess eventually you'd have, some kind of, you probably build around, fresh water. So you let people fish for fresh fish, and have your own cows and whatever else.
Right. There could be all sorts of let's say types of these kind of systems that were put into place, right, to see which ones work best and evaluate them, right?
Yep.
So everyone can say, well, hey, I've got an idea. Let's do it this way, and then go ahead and try it, right? See if it works out. If people like it, right, and you're successful in getting people to participate with what you want and what you because you were talking like utopias, right? So everyone wants to build their utopia. Okay, great. Build your utopia and see how many other people want to live like that with you. Right? And then the ones that are successful, they just blossom because because what's not stopping them is money.
Right. And that is the key. And then what we'll do is we'll create, we'll make sure to create these high-speed monorails that go, directly to these places, right? So you can travel to them all over the country, just from one to the next. Jump on the high-speed monorail and go from, our spot in New York to the one down in North Carolina in, a quarter of the time. And you travel all over on an anti-gravitational train that's sharing products, and you can get things across the country in half the time, and and everybody specializes in something different, based on the resources that are available in that area, and you actually build in harmony with the land, and you can do that while the other structure is falling apart.
Yeah, that's it. And there is a lot of that, just thinking about how they've actually purposely tried to, tear apart businesses and communities. How many homeless are in California? I think it's gone up, like 130,000 people or something like that. I mean, that's a tragedy. It truly is. How
it's such a tragedy because you get all that space. They're still building new buildings that have no one in them. There's no business being developed.
Yeah, you can't do business because they stop you. They fine you to death for doing a business. How dare you create opportunity in businesses and wealth? You're not supposed to create wealth. You can't be a millionaire or a billionaire.
Right.
Get in.
Well, the worst part is the arrogance these people have, that they know they're poisoning everyone. They're just so entitled that they keep acting like they have the right, and they throw some shade on President Trump, and then they just there's some outraged guy on Twitter, I guess it was, I don't know, there might have been an article about it because President Trump referenced Pizzagate. He referenced Hillary Clinton having a hand in Jeffrey Epstein's death, any reference like QAnon, right? So I ripped this post apart. I'm like, first of all, QAnon has predicted a year in advance so many events. It's impossible to ignore what QAnon has been talking about. They're more legitimate than any news source, no matter how ridiculous the posts are.
Yeah.
It's more accurate than anything the news is talking about.
There's it may look as though that Trump is making some tweets, and there's some where it looks like it's time for Trump to basically say QAnon is real. I think they may push it. They may have one of the alternative media there in the crowd ask the question, is QAnon real, right? And who is QAnon? And when that happens, what happens to the fake mainstream media at that point? Because they've been saying it's not real, right? And now it's their competitor, and this is where the truth is. Now people will look at it that way. It's the end of the mainstream media.
Well, when you look at the structure as a whole, right, and you say, okay, you have a couple million people around the world who control all the money, or have controlled all the money. Now they don't have control of it anymore. So now, because they had control of the money, they were able to develop and find ways to poison everyone. Right? So everyone gets poisoned, right? Biological weapons being used everywhere, from vaccines to the food, the water, the air, everything. Then they control the actual message that's being put out. So now everyone who knowingly is putting out a message, that they know is false, no matter what level they know it's false. The fact that they know it's false and they've been bribed or extorted and told either you do this or your position is gone, and they continue to do it to perpetuate fraud on an American president, on the American people, right? To lie about medical research, to put out false reports. Every pharmaceutical company that has knowingly hid information. The fact that the government is allowing a vaccine to be mandated, that they know there is currently, the virologists are still in court in a massive lawsuit because they said outright that the executives told them to spike the results. So there's not even evidence that the drug works. The only thing we know it does is it poisons people. That's the only thing we know it does, because there's no studies to show otherwise.
I think
every single person involved in this, they are liable for the damages they've caused. For every case of autism, for every death caused, for every person whose neurological growth has been stagnated because fluoride is laced in all the water. There's other options. And the fact that we're not exploring other options just goes to show that global warming is a complete farce. All of these ridiculous green deals are based on ignorance, because we can easily fix any environmental problem right now.
Right.
With no problem at all. I mean, there's not even an issue. Everyone who's worked to this needs to become the number one crime against humanity. Everyone who has worked to stagnate the, I don't know if it's the intellectual, the environmental, the social development of the human race is a criminal. And there's those who have no idea, who I guess you can't hold them accountable, like everyone who just worked for a company. But everyone at these higher positions need to be removed immediately. Everyone who is, below them, who knows what's going on and is still complicit, they need to be removed. These things have to happen now. And one of the things I did see from QAnon today was talking about, since they're like, Patriots, it's time. I did see that today, that post. And I don't follow QAnon that much, but I did see something about that. And it's talking about the same exact things I'm talking about right now. This will not go away because, we pray it away. You want. I remember this joke. And this guy, there's a flood coming, right? He's on his front porch, and somebody drives, and he's praying to God that he's going to be saved. And somebody pulls up in the car, and he goes, hey, you want to ride out of town? There's a hurricane coming. He's like, no. He's like, God will save me, right? Then the floods come, so he's up on the lower roof of his house, like the deck porch. And somebody comes in a boat and says, "Hey, man, you want to come with us?" He's like, "Nope." He goes, "God will save me." And he's on top of the chimney. Somebody comes out of the helicopter. He's like, "Nope, God will save me." Then he dies. And then he goes up to heaven. And God's like, he's standing there in front of God. He's like, "God, why didn't you save me?" He's like, "I sent a car, a boat, and a helicopter. What else you want me to do?" You know?
Right.
It's like that's what's happening right now to the people. You know, we're going back to things. We have every answer we need right here in front of us, and we're looking for something else instead of just taking what we already have and putting it to work.
So you're saying that God sent a tank and a dam.
That's right. Like, exactly. I sent you a tank and a dam.
So take
Tank
action.
and Thomas.
Where's it?
Right.
Yeah, and Thomas. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. You know, it's
And
like, come on.
okay, and Kim. You can't forget about Kim.
right. We're just extensions. I'm just saying. Point being is, it's high time for us to transition all this over and to actually to make a difference and get this stuff to catch on. So every one of these, YouTube, they are liable. They should be promoting the hell out of what we're saying. They ought to be putting everything we say out, times 10, because what we're saying changes the world.
Well,
These are options that people have.
They have a suppressed times 15, so that means we'll only be suppressed times 5.
Right.
So you need to up that, not times 10. You go times 100 or something.
Until we started going live the other day, people were hitting us up. Like, "Oh, I've been subscribed to this channel. I didn't know you guys were still doing anything." I'm like, "Really?" That's how obnoxious it's become. It's like you're right. People that even are subscribed, they don't even get noticed.
Yeah, they don't get noticed. This is why bringing people to a website and then working from the website is probably the better way to handle this. Is to subscribe to the website. Go ahead and put out the videos. You could use YouTube as a platform to hold them if you want, or these other ones. But give the notifications by way of the website. It's just and then you need to build an app, right? So the app will notify you. All right. So it's a long way around, but it's possible to bypass this.
You know what? Screw that. YouTube better get its act together, because I shouldn't have to go build a whole new thing because they're inept and they're corrupt. They should be run out of business. I shouldn't have to go do all these other things. That's what is broken right now. We have a constitution. We don't have to go make it. We don't even need Congress to do anything else. Try enforcing the laws that already exist.
Oh yeah.
Try abiding by them.
Yeah. I think Trump could make an executive order that basically says that if there's any law out there in which there was supposed to be some follow-up tests done, studies done, and they weren't done, the law that was put in place has to be immediately suspended. So if there wasn't testing on vaccinations, stop that. If there's any laws against marijuana, you stop that, because they never did the testing to keep it on Schedule 1. So it wouldn't be a Schedule 1 anymore. Then it would there are all laws related to that, and then free all the people that are in jails based upon crimes that were related to these things when it shouldn't have been a crime because they didn't do what the law said. So why base all these other laws that came after it on something as the cornerstone, and then you build all this structure on top of it, and it shouldn't have ever been there. So
right.
So whether it's vaccinations, marijuana, and I can tell it probably is for everything else out there, environmental studies or whatever that they're claiming is this, so that they can just do their agenda, right? Because under the color of law, but they never fulfilled their part, right? It's always about just doing whatever they want, which is the totalitarian model, right? It's.
They just want something to reference back to say why they're justified in committing a crime.
Right.
And there's no better way to do that than be directly involved in making the laws. Right. So you have your buddy in Congress make the law because you fund his barbecue for his annual fundraiser, right? And then now, now you call in your favor. You say, look, man, I need you to make this law happen, right? It's kind of like, Nancy Pelosi's husband gets $787 million from the Obama Foundation to build solar panels out in Nevada, and he fails. So $787 million of American taxpayer money goes to a failed project. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like we don't have it's not like you're reinventing something. It's solar panels in the middle of the desert. What happened? Did you run out of sun? What did you run out of that it didn't work? Right.
Right.
Nothing.
You needed more
You
money.
embezzle the money. Right?
Embezzle the money.
Because
that's what it was.
You probably invested $20 million to do it. Right. Couldn't get it done and pocketed the rest. Right. And they're still getting paid for that.
Yep.
They're still getting paid. Imagine, they're still. We've got people right now who have been made homeless. I spoke to a woman yesterday who's been made homeless for the past 30 years, right? Because she spoke out against these things, talking about the government, talking about all the different things that they've done, talking about all the different violations of the Constitution, the fluoride in the water, things of that nature. They destroy all that is good about people using money. And as far as I'm concerned right now, there is nothing more tragic than every single employee, anyone who is enabling the blockage of in any way, who is still afraid of this innate, impotent, low-life, loser organization that wants to build nothing and destroy everything. If you're still working for them, you deserve to go to jail. If you're still abiding by their will, you can change it. This has always been such a thin veil of control they have. It's so transparent if you just open your eyes. And this guy who attacked Trump today, that's what it reminded me of. So I was sitting there reading all the things he had to say. He was furious. The mainstream media wasn't talking about it. So I told him why. I'm like, they're not talking about it because they know that they're complicit. Because if they start mentioning that President Trump is tweeting about QAnon, then they're going to have to look at all the things that QAnon has said and realize this stuff's all happened, right? Because they told you, QAnon brought out, this is where the corruption is. Watch this. And then a year later, to the day, it happens. You can't predict the weather right when you're standing outside. You expect us to believe you.
Yep. Hashtag QAnon. Trump is basically trolling now the press to ask him about QAnon. This is the time. This is when
I dare you! I dare you, you pack of cowards! I dare you to actually stand up and say something. That low-life Cuomo and his these losers try to make issues where there isn't one, right? But ignore things that are real, that matter to people, right? But things that actually do matter. My gosh, they don't want to talk about that ever.
No.
But they will make a huge issue in trying to portray and paint the picture that President Trump's a racist. Are you kidding me? Trump's from New York. People in New York, and this is just the truth. As much as people want to dog people in New York, one thing New Yorkers are not is racist. New York, Queens County is the most culturally diverse county in the entire world, right? Every race is represented on every level of business. There is absolutely not racism here. What there is when the Clintons came in town, they made sure to alert all the policy enforcement guys to go out and to profile every young black man, and they imprisoned 100,000 young black guys who were, in Harlem to make it safe for the Clintons, right? Because they moved in next to the Apollo, right? And they were arresting young black men for nothing and just holding them in Rikers Island, right? It's an abomination. Everything they accuse, they act like it's a growing cultural problem, a social problem. It's not a social problem. It's an elite pedophile scumbag politician and business person banker problem. That's the problem.
And banker problem. Throw that in. Yeah.
And bankers, right?
I don't even know where to go with that, because this is not just in New York where they're doing this. They're doing this, everywhere. They're creating this scenario, right? I was talking earlier about Los Angeles and California and the homeless that are there. But what can we do to do to change this right now? Right, we have to take steps like the sanctuary city for for the Second Amendment. We can do it for all of our issues, right? And not that that is really like the solution. Sanctuary cities, this is basically to put it in their face scenario, right? To basically just put it right back at them. As they say, okay, you want to do sanctuary cities? Great, we'll do sanctuary cities for everything that's constitutional.
Well, I look at this now. What we are doing with Lawful America right now is we are putting them all on notice.
I also mentioned that also earlier today.
Oh, good. Yeah. Now we're putting them on notice. That we've already notified the governors. We've notified the actual boards of education. This stuff costs money. I mean, this is like we had Lisa literally she's this happens to everybody that gets associated with me, right? Is that and Lisa is amazing, right? She's done great things for us. Like, so she came on board, and she had like her first commission check come in from her regular job in a while, and she put up a big chunk of that check just to get these letters out because she sees the importance of it. And she wants to make sure that they're doing that right. And then we've had a little bit of donations come in for that, right? But you know what? There's plenty of rich people sitting around throwing money at things they never see, they're never a part of, and never do anything. You want to donate something? Donate to something that's actually going to make a difference in the country, right?
Right.
Like go to lawfulamerican.com and contribute to make a difference, because we're moving. We're putting we're going to put out every single dime we've spent, what's been donated, what we put up. If people actually knew how much money that the individuals on my team have put up, we are an organization that anybody that tries to attack us, I dare you. I dare you to go check our finances. I dare you to see how much we've invested to change this thing. Because we've literally impoverished ourselves, giving every dime we have to change this country and the world. And I bet you can't find another organization like that in the world that has done on the scale that we have. Because I took my life savings. I put every dime of my life savings into this just to try to have an impact. Not to mention all the money they stole from me, right? And I'm not saying that by way of bragging either. I'm just saying that by way of,
this seems
reasonable.
This seems to be the badge of truth, right? If you're on this mission, you end up with scraping by because there's just you're focused on doing this, and the system is against you. I go back and just realized when I really took this detour, or I'm really taking it back to this Mandela effect of what happened to me in Nevada with where he's not the governor anymore, but I was there. He became the governor. That stuff, and then I'm immediately in Laos meeting with Swiss Indo. It's like boom, and then I'm in China, and then I'm stationed in the Philippines. But when I started, I got cut all of my bank accounts.
Yeah, that's right. It's crazy.
I'm going. Okay. It was a no one could tell me anything. But I had people checking, right? No one could give me the answer as to why.
It's so insane, and that's when you realize they have absolute control because they also didn't have to explain it.
Right.
Our Archbishop. I don't want to say his full name, but the Archbishop who often comes out here, he has an inheritance that's his of like $14 million that was stolen from him, right? They just took it. They're like, you can't have that, right? And he's an Archbishop. And before that, he's also a healer, right? And he's an anomaly, right? Because he's not, he's not part of the corrupt side of the church in any way. Matter of fact, he's done more to out the behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I look at that, it's like, how could you justify taking that money? It was inheritance left to him, right? They wouldn't let him have it. I look at what's happened to your platform. I mean, before I ever came on your show, you already had 12,000 people that were following you.
Right.
Yeah. And like they demonetized you every time I come on, which has been every day.
Yeah. So the episodes that you weren't on, then I got monetized. I had to request a review, and they got approved.
Right.
It was more of a curiosity than to see what was going to happen. I wasn't really expecting. It's something. It turns out to be maybe $1 over like a couple of months, right? So it's not really a big deal. But when you're trying to build a whole audience and make it into a revenue stream for yourself, then might as well just smile and keep going. You're not going to be getting any money from there.
They already took your bank account. Now, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've had bank accounts shut down, right? And
we're talking. I must have been about six businesses, right? All of the accounts got shut down, right? And I was left with one personal account. Can you guess what bank it was with?
Wells Fargo.
No. Citibank.
Citibank has no money, so.
Well, back then they may have had it, but its positions, Citibank's position, it's more about no bank account ever really gets shut down, right? Right. They keep using these, right? So they left like one channel maybe to monitor what I'm doing, but I let that go. I mean, I said, okay, well, I'm doing cryptocurrency. I'll just invent my own money.
Right.
So, so now this new, Kringle Gold and the gold grain coin. We're going to be testing the gold grain coin today. Maybe it might be tomorrow, but I think it's today. And it's what they call stable coin, because there will be. And I got the interesting new terminology to do, because we're not backed by gold, but we actually are backed by other crypto, which is not a security such as Bitcoin. And but we have as a final backstop. That's the terminology that the Fed uses or the U.S. uses with the gold that's supposedly in Fort Knox. It's the final backstop, to the currency that's out there. X22 was reporting that they found, this guy was doing research and figured out that the seals, the unbreakable seals that they put on the gold vaults, 42 gold vaults, have been broken repeatedly.
Not so unbreakable.
Yeah. Well, unbreakable was the idea was that there was to be this this accounting done of what's in the vault, and then after you've done this twice, right, and you sealed it the first time, you sealed it the second time, you're never supposed to break the seal again. That way, you always know the gold is there.
Right, sure. Right. Yeah, well, it's this portion of the process, I guess, at this point to me, I take the Universal Council at their word. I take Kim at her word. Their time is over. This is our time. We have done everything possible to survive, to weather the storm, to create awareness, to put things in place to change it, and it is our time to reap the benefits of that. It's time for humanity to be allowed to blossom and to take advantage of all the incredible technology and the reality of what exists in this world and within ourselves, and untap that and unleash it. And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna spend my
my life making sure that happens. So that's what I'm looking at.
Well, we're well underway. Looking forward to the new abundant 2020.
Yes, indeed. So
we good for today then?
yeah, man, that's what I got. You have a great night. Appreciate you doing the show as always, and everybody, stay tuned. Should get very exciting here real quick.
Yes. It will be exciting. Well, I can't wait till tomorrow. Monday. Well, my Monday.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, Dan.
All right, good night. All right, everyone. Be sure to subscribe, share, take the link, and pass it on. Share this video. Give thumbs up, positive comments. This all helps. And appreciate everyone for everything that everyone's done so far. This has been most rewarding experience, to do what I've been doing with DANK, and in my journey altogether, it's a fascinating show. Get your popcorn, but get on the move because we've got a lot to do. All right, peace out from the Philippines. Bye bye.